things I wanted to cover with you guys. So focus on these little things. And as I always mention, as the details is the more details we have and can get, the better as a team will be. And if every player is a better soccer player because they learned the details, the team will be very successful, obviously, or more successful. So today, let me go over a few things that are I think very big in this game that will help us be a better team and have a better chance of winning more games. Um, in this case, there's a throw-in, and we don't get the header. So just wanted to show you guys this case here. So throw-in happens, and we go very weak into the challenge, and they end up getting the ball, and luckily, obviously, we retrieve it. But again, guys, it's extremely important not letting them get out of their own half, getting into the challenge, and keeping the ball on their own half. The more, obviously, the ball is on their half, the more chances we have to get the ball and go into goal. So we cannot allow teams to get out of the throw-ins or boxes easy as this. Okay, so make sure that everybody on the throw-ins is very active and ready to head the ball when needed. So during our technical activity, we are going to cover some heading as well in order to help us with many things, such as maybe corner kick defense, maybe the throw-ins like this, as you've seen, or maybe even scoring. So whatever it is, we have to do a better job. Okay, next one. This is one I spoke a little bit to the defense about, but let me show you guys what happens here. Fullback gets the ball, back to center back. We clear it. They get the ball here, and we get the throw-in and all. But we mentioned last game I talked to you guys about this, and I'll work with you guys a little bit on the practice on this. But in this case, when our fullback has the ball, their back is turned to their goal, and we have a center back that's occupied. We don't want to make these dangerous passes because you guys saw what happens. What we want to do is it's going to take a few simple exchanges of places where we need the goalkeeper to come in here, and the fullback needs to play the ball to the keeper. The fullback becomes the center back. Okay, the center back becomes the 8 or 10 in the middle. The 8 or 10 becomes the fullback, and the 6 and center back have to stay in here, and everyone's condensed. And if we can build out of it, then let's do that. If not, we're going to clear it out. I'll cover that with you, but again, in these cases when the fullback is in this case and cannot play to the center back, to the goalkeeper here, become the center back. The midfielder, the 8 or 10, becomes the fullback here. The 6 will get in tighter. The center back here will just come out a little bit more, and then we have the center back here. So that would allow us to have the same positions again, just exchanging places a little bit. It will help us easier keep the possession. I'm going to cover that with you guys at the practice so that you guys understand it a little bit better. Okay. The next one, what happened, what we need to do a better job in is a free kick of the opponents. You guys can see here, this is exactly how we got scored on against Cochise. We had a nice 1-0 lead against Cochise, and what happened was they did not have very many shots on goal. They did not have a chance to get to our goal, but they had an free kick exact like this on the other side, and they were able to score. And the free kick was similar to this one as well. We have to be doing a better job marking the players here. Okay, so in this case, we did not mark all of their players. So as you guys can see here, we have players marked, okay? But this player and this, we have 3 players against 4 or 5. So that cannot happen. We have to make sure that the players are marked. We're very tight on them, and then we follow. Now you guys will see here that when the free kick happens, luckily Tessa gets a good header on it. But these players here, 3 of our players, completely left their players to go into the box and head it. None of them, nobody's following the ball, nobody followed their player, nothing. So Phoenix, in this case, had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in the box. We had Tessa and Anna, and a little bit Yuli over here. The rest of you were all out. That cannot happen. That's really, really poor defending. And it could have easily been a goal if Tessa wasn't there. It would have been an easy goal. So these are the things that I don't know why it happened. Lack of leadership in the back to organize the players from the goalkeeper. Lack of leadership from the center backs to make sure everybody has a player, keeping everyone accountable. I don't know what it is, but it cannot happen again. You guys have to understand that when we analyze these video and someone scores and that was your player, it's obviously directly your fault for partially, obviously, always nobody's ever 100%, but you're the main person at fault, and you cannot do that, especially with free kicks, corner kicks, throw-ins, and all of that. You guys in the box, golden rule, tight on your player, no space whatsoever, no space whatsoever. No, not reckless defending where you're gonna create a penalty, you're gonna grab their shirt, but you gotta be so incredibly tight that they have no space to breathe. I expect better on this. This cannot happen because if she had hit the ball 2 yards away from Tessa, they had 6 players there for a goal. And in the big games, playoffs or whatever, it's so hard to score. So no silly goals. So let's go on to the next one. They have a free kick. They're going to take it. Let me just show you guys what happens here. We get actually a good header, and we end up getting the ball back. But what my thing was in this one is, as you guys can see, when the header happens, we have to have, as I covered in practices, no cover behind Anna jumping here. We have to have players covering more. This player has to be in here, the center back in here, and I don't know what the fullback was doing. I really don't know. Completely out of position. Instead of being closer here, and fullback, center back, and the other fullback have to always cover 3 to 5 yards behind, so that if we play a team that has a better forward, a forward that's going to make that, in this case, a better forward would have already been here on a full sprint, and teams are going to have better players here that are going to jump and head it. They're going to apply contact to our center backs. These players are going to be running, and if it's a flick over, it's an easy goal. So guys have to cover. There's a reason we do that, and it has to happen. Look how far our center back is from the other center back. Instead of being in here, completely out of position, massive gap between these 2 players, which I'm not sure why, because we cover it so many times at practices. We've done so many videos, so I don't know where the confusion happens. Maybe it's just too fast of a game for some players that they're not reading it, or we need to develop, but it has to be better in every case. So let's go on to the next one. So in this case, let me just watch this with you guys, and then we'll show you. Okay, so that was that. Just what we covered many times in the practices is whenever we have the ball and our hips are turned, you guys can see here, their center back hips turned that way, everybody's hips are turned that way. We have 1 and 2 players. Can we slip that ball through any gap for 2 of our players to make a run onto it? It's so important that we can develop that technical ability. We have covered it many times in the technical sessions, and we've covered it during the 3v2s, where you dribble into the middle, and once you find yourself in the commitment area, you slip the ball through for a goal. But I'm not sure why we're not doing it in these games. But okay, we kept possession, so at least that. So another thing that I was talking to you guys at the game against, I was covering to you guys against the game versus Glendale, where we had the ball, our outside forwards, our 11 or our 7, had the ball on the outside, and they were making a good run into the middle. And there was a potential for a nice 1-2, which I felt, but we weren't reading it, or it wasn't fast enough. So here's an example of it, and then I'll show you guys what we could tweak to do a little bit better, okay? So watch this. Okay, so out of this we get a corner, but what we could do better here is, so our winger does a good job going into the middle, makes the good pass. So here, left foot, 1 touch. Has to be a 1 touch in here, because as you guys can see, as the pass was made, she starts making the run. And her hips are this way. So there's already 3 yard separation here. So a 1 touch going in here, this player would have been left in the dust. But we do a 2 touch, giving this player the opportunity to turn. She's running, and now we make the pass, and it's giving her the chance to recover. So at the technical sessions in practices, we constantly are telling you guys to make 1-2s with 1 touch and fast and fast and fast. So it has to be quicker. There's no reason to do 2 touches here. Just trap, pass, 1, 2 into space, and now we're in front of the goal. So at the practice on Monday, when we do our technical session, you guys will have a scenario to do 1-2s quickly here, so that you guys can, we can create opportunities to score through those when needed. Okay. Okay. So next one. Let me show you what happens here. So again, fullback has lots of time and space, taking the ball into the middle, and then I'll show you guys what happened. Okay, and we get a shot on goal. Not bad at all. But so when you guys see this video, when you guys get the ball here, as we're taking the ball into the middle, this is the same drill as when we do the 3v2s. So 1 player is dribbling it to the middle, you have a cross run here, and you have your 3rd player coming in. And we covered, do we want to slip it through this way, or do we want to slip it through a gap? In this case, we made the decision to slip it through the gap. So exact scenario as our 3v2s. However, when we covered the 3v2s, I was telling you guys that there are many details that we need to do. And I hope that you guys know what those details would entail, because we covered it many times. But let me refresh you guys. So we always said that when we do obviously the 3v2 or the scenario, in this case, it's never going to be always like a 3v2, or it could be a 4v3, or it doesn't matter. But this was exactly what we've covered in the practices, for a reason, because it happens so many times for us. So I let you guys know that the technical details of that. Number 1 is your first touch. So when you guys see here, pass is made, let's see our first touch. So first touch is good. I think that the first touch was good. However, I thought that we could have noticed the space more, and the first touch could have been much bigger so that we can just run into that space and go into the gap. You guys have to be much more aggressive with your first touches when you have the space. So pass is made, first touch, big first touch, and then sprint. And then, so we covered the first touch. The second one was speed. How fast can I get here and commit someone and send the ball? Well, in this case, way too slow, way too slow. Look at this player that was left behind 10 yards, caught up. If you guys notice, when this pass made, when the pass is made, it's such a big separation. So we gotta go in with speed, much faster dribbling, and then we always, when we come into this scenario, can we get it behind these players? The ball went in the air. Can we hit it on the ground and slip it through? Luckily, we had a good forward that's feisty and worked really hard here and still created an opportunity to score. But if we use the good first touch, much more speed, we'll and get closer. If we had used speed here, we could have gotten in all the way in here, committed a player, and then just sent a simple ball on the ground so that our forward doesn't have to fight so hard to get a shot with so much pressure. So everything we do in practice is for a reason, is because it happens so many times in a game that we have to improve. So when you guys are doing this drills or the games and the practices, you guys really have to focus on your skills and your understanding of the game and the technical skills. Okay, another thing that happened at the Glendale game, for example, is how we send sometimes the through balls to a cross run or something like that. So watch what happens here. Okay, so in this case, when the pass ball is here, we can see that our player is making a run forward, and there's a gap to make the pass. The hips are turned going this way. So, and this is the goal. And now, instead of making a pass low into the space here so that our forward can just run onto it and go to goal, we pass it away from them backwards so that they have to completely stop. You guys see that? Now she gets the ball and she has to stop, and now she has pressure on the back and it's over. We have to make the passes to players where they're going to be, not where they are. And how do you know where they're going to be? Is you have to read their hips. In this case, I see a gap, I see her hips, I'm going to send it through nice and firm, inside foot low on the ground, and our player can run onto it and go towards goal. But we kick it behind them, and now they have to stop, and then this happens. And we've seen that numerous times against Glendale, which our forwards are making a cross run, and we hit the ball right behind them, and we completely lose the opportunity to score. Okay, in this case also, when the pass is made, if you guys can see, after we lost it, our center back decides to step, which is nothing wrong, a good counter press. But look at the defense here, really poor defending there. Luckily, they don't have enough quality players to take advantage of it. But as a center back, if you ever step, you gotta go in much harder in here. You cannot have any separation between you and the player. You know that if you lose the ball, or they beat you, or they are able to turn and pass, that we're very vulnerable here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, and you're the seventh, so only 3 players in the back. You know that if they get the ball and are gonna attack us, that they, it's very dangerous. So you gotta have no separation, going really hard into this. Try to get the ball at as hard as you can. Not look how much gap we gave them. Now, if she had received the ball here, it's a 2v2. Especially how slow our fullbacks are reacting to covering and in no man's land out here. So you guys have to make sure that as center backs, if you step on the challenge, it has to be extremely tough challenges in terms of how aggressive you are, and not letting them turn, not letting them pick their head up and all of that. Okay. So that's a improvement. Another one is a 1-2 here. So let me just play it out and then you guys will see. Okay, so shot on goal. But let me just show you in this case. So as you guys can see, forward takes the ball into the middle, does a good job, makes a first pass. Okay, starts running, and there's a big gap. So a one touch through, and we run onto, and we're in front of goal. As you guys can see, the run on sides, big gap, simple pass across, little diagonal, run in, take a touch, finish. So that is exactly why we do a lot. Everything's a 1-2 to start in our technical training sessions. So on Monday when we do the 1-2s, really everybody needs to really focus on good first touch, good pass, firm pass, and it has to be with pace. 1-2 quickly. And after you make the first initial pass, how fast can you get into the space? We have to read each other. We have to understand it and do a really good job on the 1-2. So focus on those. Focus on those. We also worked on the slicing of the ball, and you guys will see what it looks like when it's successful. In this case, our center back gets the ball. And a good ball over the defense on a slice. Forward gets the ball. And unfortunately, just goes just barely over the post. Let me just show you guys again. But again, they probably expected that we're gonna play short, nice little fast 2 touches. Second one is over, sliced it, hits the ground, stops, forward comes on. So it's as simple as that, guys. Soccer can be as simple as that. When you read that their defense is too high and our forward makes a good run. So so good on that. Okay, next one. Let's watch it and then we'll go over it. So a really good scenario here, guys. So first of all, really good job by this player to take the ball into the middle, make the pass, and then realize that they're open for a through ball, and which was Abby, and then amazing through ball by Tessa in this case, and that's what we worked on in the practice where we said dribble the ball this way and then slip it through. So and taking the ball into the middle, really good. Great cross run here. Made a great pass here. Tessa gets the ball, and you guys can see here, everybody's hips are turned this way. Everyone's facing the golf course, every one of their players, and that's why we slip it through the opposite way, because it takes them a long time to turn, and we slip the ball perfectly into here on sides. And the only thing here that we need to improve on is the first touch has to be left foot away from the defense this way, and then a left foot finish. That's the only thing, instead of here right foot and then outside right, and it's unsuccessful. So great play, but the finishing has to be cleaned up in that aspect. So one more thing here, last one, long ball, and again we see the ball is going long, center back steps really nicely. So great step here, get the ball first, great cover, fullback not in position, again completely out of position. for many times in this game. So leaving a gap, and what's like I said, what's going to happen in bigger games is you're going to see that there's going to be goalkeepers that can punt it much further. They're going to have, if a team plays with 3 forwards, this player will be sprinting this way. They're going to have other players sprinting in here, and they're going to have a 9 that's going to be very smart and sneaky, trying to flick it over. And if they make that run, it could be a goal. And I've seen it many times. So walking and being out of position will really hurt us in the big games if we are unorganized as some of the players are. So so that was that for that video. Make sure we watch it as many times as we can, and we fix the little issues. It's good to play these big games to see them. So let's everyone's duty is to improve on them and to get better on them, so that next game we close out the games even with even possibly even better results and easier and make it easier for us. Okay, until the next video.